I know this is kind of a morbid question, but when was the first mass murder? This is a question many people don't actually ask and just assume it was in the 20th century. I'm not sure why people are this optimistic about human nature, but they are. Even Google lies to you. That leads us to a very interesting discovery in today's case. In 2007, a farmer in Croatia dug a hole to lay the foundation for a new garage, and what he found surprised everyone, even the experts. With just a little bit of digging, it became pretty clear that it was a mass grave with 41 dead bodies. Luckily, there was an anthropological and archaeological team nearby. So the farmer contacted them, and they came to investigate what it actually was that he had found. The anthropologists figured it was a mass grave of people who were executed during the Croatian War in the 1990s or during World War II. Yet there were no bullets or weapons found in the grave, and the bodies seemed to be much older than that. So they thought maybe these were a mass grave from some type of illness, as there are lots of mass graves from the Black Plague that have been discovered. But there are also no signs of this, and because there are holes in some of the heads, it appears that many of them were murdered. So the research team began to wonder if these were warriors who had died in some kind of epic battle in the past. But they couldn't be because there were no facial injuries and there are no defensive injuries on any of the bones like their arm bones. It's also pretty clear from the demographics of the victims that they weren't warriors. Of the 41 victims, 21 were male, 20 were female, but there were 21 who were children under 17 and 20 adults between 18 and 50. So it's highly unlikely that these people actually died in battle. So this means that through deduction and ruling out many possibilities, the archaeologists hypothesized that this must be a mass killing. But why did a mass killing happen at this place in this time? Because it doesn't appear to be a discriminate killing because they usually only kill men and take the women prisoner. Though, if you'll forgive me for speculating a little bit more than the researchers did, I wonder if the murderers took the women without children and killed all the children, mothers, and men. For instance, the Old Testament, like in Numbers 13, 15 through 18, where Moses tells his followers to kill everyone in Midian except for the women virgins. And Moses said unto them, Have you spared all the women? Behold, they caused the sons of Israel, through the counsel of Balaam, to be unfaithful to the Lord in the matter of Peor, so that the plague took place among the congregation of the Lord. Now therefore, kill every male among the little ones, and kill every woman who has known a man intimately. However, all the girls among you who have not known a man intimately, keep alive for yourselves. But this is actually also very similar to the way that the warriors in the Iliad talk about virginal women as prizes. Though just for clarity's sake here, I'm not suggesting the event in question is a biblical murder, just using a small piece of historical evidence that my claim that this could have been a situation where everyone except the virgin women were killed is still a possibility. And I think I have a little bit of a foothold here because both of these stories are derived from very rich oral traditions. So they're actually much older than they appear to be from when the text was written. Yet there is also a danger in resting too much on these kinds of claims, because it's very much a backwards view of history because Numbers and the Iliad were most likely written between 750 and 500 BCE. So this may be an interesting side point as there is little to no writing from 5000 to 4000 BCE. But to make this mystery even more interesting, the victims weren't even all from the same family. Only a fourth of the victims were related and only kind of loosely. So this means that the event is not a specific family being slaughtered, but rather a group from the same city of some sort being slaughtered. The archaeology team were actually unable to find any murder weapons or any self-defense weapons, but they did find some prehistoric pottery in the hole, which made them really curious about how old the mass grave really was. So with some outside help, the team carbon dated multiple artifacts and skeletal remains from multiple soil level depths to make sure that this was a mass grave from one single incident. But when the researchers got the results back, they certainly were surprised. The entire grave is most likely from one incident in roughly 4200 BCE or 6200 years ago. This means that the first indiscriminate mass murder on record is from 4200 BCE. But beyond the novelty of being the first mass murder in history, this mass murder that was 6,000 years ago also has several ramifications that are really surprising to the researchers. First, because only 11 of the 41 victims were related to each other, but all of the victims seem to share local DNA. This means that humans actually had cities where many families resided at least 1,000 years before the Bronze Age. Only 13 of the 41 had cranial injuries, and the rest were not injured in any way, and all the bones lack any indication of defensive wounds. so it doesn't seem like the people really fought back for some reason. But this is also somewhat unclear because many murders involve soft tissue injuries like strangulation, bludgeoning, or stabbing, which often don't leave any skeletal evidence of what actually happened during their killing. So these people could have been executed, poisoned, killed while they were sleeping, been drunken then murdered, etc. And after ruling out all the things it couldn't be, researchers are left to hypothesize. In Germany and Austria, there are a few mass graves from around the 3500 to 3000 BCE mark, about 1,000 years after this specific one. And in those nearby cases, it seems from the evidence that most of the mass murders in those areas were from the results of climate change or overpopulation, leading to a shortage in water and food like vegetation, cattle, and wild game. So given the area and the time, researchers hypothesized that there was a population boom or they experienced the effects of climate change in the region. And this issue may have led people to kill others in their local area somehow, like a disagreement over resources gone wrong, or to raid others in other areas looking for sustenance. But the idea of outsiders killing these people was deemed unlikely because the DNA of all the people in the Croatian mass grave were from the local area and some were related, so it seems most likely that they were killed by locals. However, again in my estimation, it doesn't seem like anyone really explored the possibility that a new group killed the locals and just took over their stuff. Another unmentioned possible explanation that seems pretty reasonable to me. But to contrast this case, another mass grave from this time period was discovered in Spain. However, all the victims seem to have been newcomers to the area, so the Spain mass grave is thought to be the grave of marauders who were killed in a raid by the homeowners and the townfolk. But I'm curious, now that you know indiscriminate mass murders have been happening for millennia, does this change how you think about mass murders in our contemporary time period? Let me know in the comments. And if you're ready for more information, check out this video. It's about the 2 first mass shootings on record, at least the earliest 2 that I could find. And thanks for watching. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed it. It really does help me out. See you in the next one.